every year we bring about 300 exhibitors and over 2,000 personnel, and we put them all under one roof with one purpose in mind, and that is to be there for you guys in a world which is coming down with information from fabulous travel websites, which may or may not include Ryanair.com. There's a terrible shortage of people to actually sit in front of you and answer a question, and very often when you have a serious question, it takes a lot of trawling around the internet, and when you try and phone someone you get digitized, automated answering machines. So we thought it was a good idea to, as well as having everyone in the hall exhibiting and just dealing with queries, that we would put a little bit of icing on top of it, and we would bring major players in the travel industry over the course of the 3 days. We have a lot of major players in the travel industry who are here to answer questions. It's your questions that they come to answer, not really mine. There are roving microphones, and if you put up your hand, you will, we will hear your question, we will endeavour to answer it, and if there's a question that we cannot answer, as happened already in one of the sessions, the very first session this morning, we will make sure you don't leave the hall without getting an answer to your question and getting some sort of lead that it can be teased out. It's with great pleasure that I welcome Robin Keeley from Ryanair here, and there's no doubt, I used to say Ryanair was one of the 2 leading airlines in the country, but Ryanair's market share of the off-island flights has increased exponentially. I think it's about 42% of all flights off the island now are on Ryanair aircraft, and their passenger numbers from a small aircraft that took off in 1985 from Waterford to Luton, one ex-Romanian aircraft, wasn't it? I think some of the aviation experts here would remember, but they carried last year 119 million passengers, which makes them, for the first time, the leaders of the Champions League. Because they've overtaken the entire Lufthansa group, which includes 4 major airlines: Lufthansa, Brussels, Swiss Air, and Eurowings. And so a lot of people, we take Ryanair for granted in Ireland, but it is a major Irish success story. And it's the 5th largest or 4th largest, depending on what the numbers are from China last year, in the world. And if it was in any other industry, I think there'd be a lot more celebration and flag waving about Ryanair. But such is the nature of Ryanair, which is sort of gets down and mucks around with people in media and things like that, that we probably don't pay and give enough credit to what they've done. In one line, what they've done is they've brought aviation to the masses. I once described Michael O'Leary as the living embodiment of communism, because Vladimir Ilyich Lenin had done as much as he has in bringing equality to people by making aviation affordable, and that flight to London with the Saturday night stay and the £200 price tag is now a thing of the past. So Ryanair has done an awful lot to open our eyes to the rest of the world and to promote a culture of travel among Irish people, and travelling is really so much part of Irish people that we travel at something like 4 times the European average, and it's largely down to Ryanair and this guy here. Robin is coming here to talk about Ryanair, but mainly to answer your questions, and I'm sure you have lots of them. We always have a lively Ryanair session. Robin will attest to that, and I'm really grateful for him to come face to, because consumers do not get direct access to aviation personnel at a high level very often. Robin, you're extremely welcome. Let's start with your news from the week. 2 new routes, winter 2017, out of Dublin, and there are unusual choices.
Yes, thank you, Owen. Great to be back here again. Another year where Ryanair has been growing. Owen's been picking up awards, and I see he's taken on the Ryanair casual style as well, so that's to be welcome too.
Especially for you, Rob.
Thank you. I feel very at home. This week, yes, we launched our Irish Winter 2017 schedule. Unfortunately, no brand new routes because we're fighting with Dublin Airport Authority again. These people here. Sorry, Owen. A couple of new winter continuations.
That was product placement.
Yes, where's the Ryanair logo, by the way? To Valencia and Tours next winter. Besides that, we've got some fantastic $9.99 sales as usual. Buy early and buy often.
And what will be happening with frequencies and routes directly out of Dublin this year? Things were going to come down a little bit from previous years.
Yeah, they're going to drop about 3%, Owen. The way we effectively work our schedules, we fly to 200 different airports across Europe, and for us it's all about getting the best deal. So the airport that gives us the lowest costs means we'll put the most aircraft and the most routes in there. Unfortunately, at Dublin we had a very good growth deal where we've grown strongly over the last couple of years. They refused to continue on that growth deal, so we're not going to grow as much. In saying that, we have 130 routes across Ireland this summer, and we also have 97 routes next winter across Ireland. So it's not like we're disappearing. We'll carry over 14 million people to and from Ireland in the next year. And as I say, there's never been a better time to buy a low-cost break, both for winter or summer.
And let's cut to the chase here. How does the pricing work? When do the prices do they start low and get higher as you get closer to takeoff time? Or do they, as I suspect, start on a little bit of a pitch, then come down a bit, then wobble a bit, and then go back up again?
That would have been the traditional pricing model, Owen, and in the past that would have been the case. So, for example, if you're starting a new route, you have to encourage people to buy those seats. You'll start at a very low fare. As the flying date gets closer, you'll tend to see those fares go up, and if they aren't selling, we'll drop them. That was the old days. Nowadays, we're flying with aircraft that are 95% full, so luckily we don't have to worry about filling those seats. And when the seats are $9.99 anyway, you're going to sell a hell of a lot of them. So the best time to buy a Ryanair fare is when you see it, because more often than not, they're going to sell out. The only time the Ryanair seats go up in price is when the lowest ones sell out. So if you see one for $9.99, book it, because it's not going to get any lower than that.
But isn't there a sort of a rate yielding thing going on that they how far out? It's 240 days in advance you go onto the web, is it?
It used to be about 6 months. Now it'll be as far as 9 months.
Okay, so you're close. You're 300 days, 300 up. So is there a logarithm that says with 6 weeks to go, we should have sold more of these seats? Let's drop the price and stimulate it a little bit. Is that
in the old days that was the case, Owen, but as I tell you, exactly, we've added about 20 or 30 million to our overall passenger traffic since we launched our Always Getting Better program. Our traffic has gone from 91 million customers 3 years ago to 119 million this year. So the numbers speak for themselves. We no longer have to stimulate the market like that.
So there's no stimulation. So this thing of waiting, making your judgment 6 weeks to go is not.
When you see the low fare, book it. Otherwise, somebody else will, and it'll be gone.
And how high do they go? What's the maximum I'll pay for a Dublin to Stansted flight? Let's say I walk in and I say I want to fly in an hour and a half. How much am I going to pay for it? How high is there a peak price?
Slightly higher than $9.99 perhaps, Owen.
Is it? Okay. I got to get it. It's got to be a long.
I don't promote the high fares, just the low ones.
Excellent. What's happening across Europe? Where do you see Irish people flying in bigger numbers than they used to? Because you guys react very, very quickly to anything that shows an increased Irish market, and we have drummers. But the likes of a Barcelona flight next summer it's incredibly high priced. How do you react to that? Do you start putting on extra frequencies when you're?
Again, it all depends. There's sort of two ends to everything we do. So if you imagine there's a Dublin-Barcelona route, we have rates at both Dublin and Barcelona. So if we see that Barcelona are giving us a good deal, and we see that Dublin are giving us a good deal, or there's demand, we can add aircraft and frequencies. The advantage Ryanair has over everybody is, first of all, we have the lowest costs, so we don't have to worry about excessive costs. We can control our own costs. And secondly, we're in the middle of taking 380 brand new aircraft, which are being delivered up to 2024. The order we placed with Boeing was the largest order in the history of the Irish state for an industrial order. And that aircraft delivery is allowing us to effectively double our traffic. So at the moment, this year we'll have about 119 million customers. By 2024, we'll have 200 million people every year flying with Ryanair, which will make us the biggest airline in the world. I think if you look at the fact that we're taking 50 aircraft a year, you know, that means we can put those aircraft where we have the best deals and the lowest cost. In terms of reacting to seasonality and in terms of reacting to, I suppose, global external forces, I'm sure everyone here will tell you the same thing. People are avoiding Turkey, people are avoiding the Middle East, people are avoiding North Africa, and Mediterranean tourism has never been busier than it was in the last year. Tourism across Spain, Greece, Italy, Portugal has risen massively because people are staying away from the areas that have been affected by terrorism. So while there's a lot of extra capacity in the market, you're still going to get the lower fares. The biggest issue we're coming across is actually hotels and accommodation on the Mediterranean. So our message to people is, look, you can get really low fares this summer, but book your hotels and book your flights early, otherwise they will sell out. And when you go to make your booking, they're simply going to be full. So I went to, as an example, I went to Lanzarote the Christmas before last for a New Year break. And when I came home the first week in January, I went to look at the same hotel for the Christmas just gone, and it was already sold out. So Europe is full. Make sure you book your hotel accommodation early. So your message is make sure you get that holiday in Spain for the summer before, I think something like 10 million Germans who used to go to Turkey are now going to Spain instead. Yeah. So make sure you get that hotel before Germany throws a beach towel over the whole of Spain. That's been, we have a question here from the third row here. May I point out, actually, for those questions, I know I always have to give a bribe because it's part of always getting better. This year I've doubled the bribes. I have got a pair of Dublin tickets to either London, Barcelona, Bucharest or sunny Newcastle to give away for the best tickets. I've also got my personal assistant who's also my son because we like to keep it in the family. And for every question that's asked today, you will have a free Ryanair keyring. That's a free Ryanair keyring, no costs. So I'm happy to take your questions. Thank you very much, Robin, for bringing that to the show.
My question is just about the seating arrangements.
Sure.
So, you know, if you've children, say 2 adults, 4 children, do you have to book the seats? You get one free, is it?
Yeah, you have to book one adult seat. So we have a product called Family Extra where we offer half-price seats, half-price bags, half-price insurance for children. When we made a change to our policy earlier this year, when people weren't actually, you can effectively book a Ryanair seat and check in within 30 days of your travel. If you don't want to book your own seat and take an allocated seat, we'll give you a free seat and you can check in 7 days out. The problem was that when families were doing that, children under 12 can't sit on their own. So we were having to move people who'd already booked their seat to accommodate families to sit together. For example, if I bring my assistant on a flight, he has to sit beside me because he's under 12. So we changed our policy where if an adult and a child are traveling together, the adult has to take a reserved seat and the child gets the seat for free. And that policy is extended out. So if 2 adults and 4 children are traveling together, only one of the adults has to buy a seat and the 4 children will get their seats free. So that's just, it's literally to make things easier, A, on families so that children can sit together. And secondly, for people who've actually taken the trouble to book the seat they want, we don't then have to move those people out of the way. And it also means that you get away on time and we don't have to waste time at the boarding gate, or sorry, on board trying to move people around. So that's the policy we brought in. And explain that to me, Robin. Sorry. First keyring on the way. Explain that to me, Robin. When you say the seat for free, it means they don't pay the premium? They don't pay the allocated seat cost, yes. And what is the allocated? At the moment, it starts from about €4. And it varies for the longer flight? It does, yeah. I mean, the Canary Islands flights are generally the most expensive. They would be about €10, Owen. Now, you can also book the seats at the front or at the overwing exits to have more leg room, but children can't actually sit in those. Children can't do an emergency exit, right. Excellent. We have another question here from the third row, sorry, and you, second row then, it would be great. Okay.
Yeah, just a question on safety. I was just wondering, when the co-pilot or the pilot leaves the cockpit, do you have in place a policy where the air hostess sits in the seat of the person that's left? Is that true? We've had that policy in place for 15 to 20 years. So our policy is there's always 2 people in the cockpit. So if one of the pilots needs to use the bathroom, he'll call the number 1, the cabin crew in. He or she will step in then, and there's always 2 people in the cockpit. And that was actually a policy which was very much highlighted following the tragic Germanwings crash.
we were actually asked, you know, we've always had this policy, and we were held up as a bastion of safety. Look, safety is the #1 priority for Ryanair. Look, we like a joke, we like a laugh, but when it comes to safety, you know, that's where we draw the line, and we have a 31-year industry-leading safety record. Europe is amongst the most highly regulated safety authority in terms of aviation in the world, and the IAA is industry-leading, world-class as well. So.
We all know the scene from Rain Man, but the reality is Qantas has had more crashes than Ryanair, so that's good. Here we go.
Hello. I go a bit to the south of France in the off-peak periods, not July and August, and it seems to me that the Dublin-Carcassonne route is always more expensive than anything else, at Nîmes or Montpellier or whatever. Why is that? And any chance you're going to get more bargain routes Dublin to Carcassonne?
First of all, you won't find a cheaper fare than Ryanair. Again, it comes down to demand. So when the lowest fares are gone, they sell out. When are you looking to go? Summertime again, or off-peak, is it? You're coming into high season, so the fares will actually rise as they sell out. I would say look and see if there's anything seat sale wise. Sometimes you know, the more popular routes will be slightly cheaper during the week on days when people may not travel, particularly if it's families or people who only have the weekends to travel. It might make it easier, but you know, for routes like that, try and book as far out as possible as you can.
And how do we know about the sales when they come? Because they're announced, they're a midnight sale. Should we sign up in an email list for an e-shot on this? How does that work? What's the best way of finding out that?
I would struggle to find anyone here who hasn't seen a Ryanair sale, but the easiest way is to log on to Ryanair.com.
We need to know about it at midnight. We need to know.
No, some of them go on sale at midnight, but others, the actual sale continues and sells out by midnight. So that's when you have to book. Right. But the easiest way is to sign up. There's a email subscriber list. We have about 15 million people on that. We regularly send offers. Or follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or just simply go to the website.
Social and email.
Yeah.
Are there any new routes from Shannon or Cork?
Shannon or Cork, not at the moment, no. For similar reasons I said earlier. But we do have our winter schedule for both will be on sale in the next week or two. I know we have a couple of Lanzarottis from both airports for the winter, so there's plenty of choice there, but unfortunately nothing brand new at the moment.
Is there any grace period allowed on errors made during booking? So if you book the incorrect flight home, or you know, if you're browsing to find the best value flight home and accidentally you've clicked on the incorrect one, is there a grace period allowed?
There is, yes. We have a 24-hour grace period. So if you make a mistake in your booking, if you put the wrong name in, you booked the legs the wrong way around, we'll give you 24 hours to come and just contact us, and we'll correct the error free of charge. And
what's the best way to contact you? Is it the web chat?
Web chat, but actually one of the quickest ways is through Twitter. So we have our customer service team on Twitter from about 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. If you contact us, we'll write back to you. If we need to take your chat offline, we could direct message you. It's actually very quick. Or we have live chat as well, as Owen was saying, on our website. You can speak to someone directly on the website too.
Why should I book a priority seat with Ryanair when, first of all, you discharge at the front and the back? And it's of no benefit to me. The only benefit I get with a priority is that I'm first down the steps to queue.
Priority is particularly popular with business travelers who want to get on quickly, or get, you know, if you're booking a seat at the front or the back of the aircraft, you can get on or off quickly. It means it's a good way of guaranteeing to get your cabin bag on board. We only have space for 90 of the cabin bags on board. After 90, we have to put them in the hold, which we do free of charge. So it's also a good way of making sure you get it on board. It's not for everybody. As I say, everything that we sell on our website is optional. If you don't want to take it, you don't have to. But in terms of the benefits, you'll get on first, you'll get off first. You can take a premium seat with extra legroom at the front, in the middle of the aircraft, and you can get off quickly. Particularly if you're a business passenger flying from Dublin to London, you land in Stansted, you're off first, you're on the train, and you're into the city. So it's particularly popular with business passengers. But you don't have to. You can still get a $9.99 seat for free. So.
And on the subject of the 90 bags that the media briefing that I was at with Michael this week, he made this point that people, the phrase, colourful as he always is, he said people were bringing half their house on board. And he said they're going to look at the baggage, the free second bag charge.
Yeah.
What does look at mean, Robin?
Look at means, I think we brought in the, I know this lady has a question, I'll come back to you in one second. No, I won't forget about you. You can have another key ring as well. We brought in the second free bag policy under Always Getting Better 3 years ago. It was probably the most popular change we've made out of all the changes. It actually worked too well because people are turning up with their standard 10-kilogram bag and their smaller bag, but some people are maybe stretching the boundaries of limitations, turning up with giant rucksacks or turning up with more than their allocation. That slows down the boarding process, that slows down the punctuality, and when it comes to affecting our punctuality, we have to look at it. So what we've said is, we've said to customers, and we're going to be putting out an information campaign soon, just stick in the parameters. Bring your 10 kg bag, bring your smaller bag. Any bigger than that, we may have to look at tweaking our policy again. So use it, don't abuse it, or you'll lose it.
So we're all being warned, it's a yellow card.
Yes.
Great. Lady.
Sorry, just backtracking on that. Are there set hours on web chat, or is web chat 24 hours?
Yeah, no, we don't have a 24-hour service. So from about, I think, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., you should be fine. There's another key ring.
Front row.
Hiya, just to go back to your conversation about your aircraft.
Yeah.
How many aircraft do you currently have? What is it going to be expanding to after your new purchase? And third part, if you're getting rid of any of your older ones, where are they heading to?
Okay, so at the moment, we have 360 aircraft. Trevor Buckley over there, he'll tell you everything you need to know about our aircraft. He has the best photos as well. We have 360 aircraft. Every one of them is exactly the same. It's a Boeing 737-800 aircraft. It has 189 seats. We are taking delivery of this order of 380 new aircraft. So at the moment, we've about 305 to come. So every week, a brand new aircraft arrives in from Seattle. I went over to Seattle about 2 months ago and flew back on what was a transatlantic Ryanair flight. It was as glamorous as you can imagine, sleeping on a sleeping bag for 10 hours across the Atlantic and seeing Greenland as you fly over it. When we take that full delivery, we will have about 540 aircraft by then. Now, there are some aircraft which we will dispose of, but we have that flexibility. I mean, these Boeing 737-800s are the workhorse of the aviation industry. They're brilliant aircraft. They're the most reliable. And the beauty of having only one type of plane is all of our pilots can fly it, all of our crew can crew it, all of our engineers can fix it. We only need spare parts for one type of plane. So by the time we get to the end of that order, we'll have about 540 or so, which means we'll be able to carry 200 million passengers a year.
And do you always have spare aircraft in Dublin? Is Dublin big enough to have spare aircraft sitting around for something going tech? Does that mean you can react to an aircraft going tech?
If you imagine, every single day there are on average about 1,800 Ryanair flights every day across 33 countries. So we worked it out. Every 45 seconds between the hours of 6 a.m. and midnight, a Ryanair plane takes off somewhere. So if an aircraft goes tech, it's very much in our interest to get that plane back up and running. So we do have spares in the summertime. Obviously, it's the peak time, so we'll have more aircraft flying. In the winter time, we ground some aircraft so we can try and get people back up and running as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And what can you do if you leave something on board? Like specs or something small, is it worth following through, or is
Absolutely.
it just well, if you're told that the flight or the plane may be gone to Rome or someplace and the servicing is done there, what do you do?
I think you should book a 10-euro flight to Rome. No, I'm joking. What you should do is, as soon as you get off the aircraft, just tell the cabin crew, or else go to the lost property section at the airport. The cabin crew at the end of the flight will do a sweep, and if they find anything, they'll bring it to the lost property section of the airport. That's your best bet. Apart from that, if you contact a customer service team, they can direct you to the right place to go after that, but it's probably in your interest to do it as soon as you realize you've lost it, then just to go to the airport. Because what they do is if the aircraft has landed in Rome, you've gotten off in Rome, they'll do a sweep, they'll hand everything over that's there to the dispatcher, and he'll bring it to the lost property desk. So.
But it could end up in the lost property office in Madrid.
If that's where you've flown into.
No, if it might have travelled with your glasses or something small in it. So is it a drama getting your property back then? Right?
Not necessarily, because we do have flights going to and from. I know somebody left a laptop in Stansted that ended up in Bucharest, and we ended up getting it back there because we effectively have a free postal service with all our aircraft too. So.
Right. Front row here.
Our son and his partner are due to fly to Malaga in 9 days' time, return journey. She ended up in hospital yesterday, had emergency surgery last night, so unfortunately will not be fit to travel. Can this be put into credit to travel with you at a later time?
It should be fine. Can I have some free water on? I'll pay you a bit later, thanks. It should be fine. The best thing to do is contact customer service. If they'll need a medical certificate or note from the doctor, and then we should be able to give them a travel code. Yeah, it should be fine, yeah.
Customer service back open tomorrow, is it?
No, it's open today. It's open 7 days a week, every day except Christmas.
Lovely. How do you contact them?
If you go onto the Ryanair.com website, the numbers for Ireland are there. Or if you're on Twitter, you can also do it that way.
Yeah.
Or if you just go onto the website and just go onto live chat, you can talk to someone directly. Just have your booking reference ready, but they will ask you for a medical certificate.
Yeah, that's
just
no
evidence
problem.
of it. Should be fine.
Thank you very much.
I hope they get well soon.
If you need airport assist,
close the microphone to the mouth.
Sorry. I have a knee replacement. I also have a shoulder, steel in my shoulder. I had an accident. And you use airport assist.
You can.
Have to pay then for your allocated seating as well for Ryanair. If you want an aisle seat, if you want an aisle seat.
You can book a comfort seat, yes. You can book an extra seat if you want to do that. You can, yes.
Yeah.
For airport assistance, we have a special assistance phone line. So you're getting your free keyring there, sorry.
Sorry, excuse me.
You can book whatever assistance you need at the airport, and then they'll bring you to and from the plane. But you can book an extra seat for comfort if you want to, yes.
Not an extra seat, but do you have priority? You don't get any priority, the very fact that you have an injury.
You're looking for a priority as a result of the disability.
An aisle seat, if you have a knee, I don't want to be caught by a window.
You can book the seat if you want to. Yeah, you can purchase whatever seat you want to, yes.
You purchase it.
Right. Yeah, it starts from about €4 or €6.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, sorry, I just want another keyring.
You just want more keyrings,
No, I had, it was a rumour that you were going to start international routes, like to St. Petersburg. Was that just a rumour, or?
No, it wasn't a rumour. It was something we looked at about 2 or 3 years ago, but it never really got off the ground in the end. The problem with Russia and Ukraine is they're not part of what's called the Open Skies program. So Open Skies came in about 1991, I think, Owen, maybe. And it means that anyone who's signed up to this program can fly, any airline can fly freely between the different countries. Now, Russia and Ukraine aren't a member of that, so what we would need to do, we'd only be able to do Dublin to St. Petersburg or Dublin to Kiev, but we did have negotiations with airports there. It just never really got off the ground. There was issues with visas for crew.
Visas for crew is what I heard.
Was one of them, and I think we were looking for support from probably one of the marketing departments who are here, and I probably shouldn't say anymore.
But you booked slots and everything in the airports. And is Tel Aviv, which you're flying to now, is that a likelihood from Ireland? Is there? It's not even an.
We've started doing Tel Aviv, Paphos. That'll start in Cyprus. That'll start at the end of March. Everything's on the table, really, Owen, to be honest. It's quite a long route, though. Our average flight length is about an hour and a half.
So it changes everything that goes to 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. If the demand is there, though, we will always look at it, again, depending on costs.
Back row here.
Hi, Robin. I'm just wondering, what's the most...
Just 1 second, sorry. It's from Paphos in Cyprus. You can fly there from Stansted, I think, but you could take 3 flights to get there, but it will be worth it. Sorry.
Hi, Robin. I'm just wondering, as your role as communications manager, what's the most difficult part of your job, and does Michael O'Leary's colourful approach make that more difficult for you?
I can't comment on anything like that, I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. The hardest part of my job is probably switching off. I'm doing this job nearly 5 years now, and every day something different happens. I really enjoy it. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it, even though I'm clearly unemployable anywhere else, so I'm stuck doing it. But yeah, that's probably the hardest part. We've made so many massive changes in the last 3 years that my job has changed a lot too. I also look after social media and content, so we're moving into that whole digital area. It's not just about PR and dressing up as stuff and saying funny things, although that is a big part of it still. So the hardest part is probably just actually getting home and switching off and not thinking about work. So I've turned my phone off 3 times in 5 years. So that could be one of it. But it's fun. And I get to see my son sometimes as well. Hi, Bobby. There's a key ring down the back there.
And you get to spend Sunday afternoon with you guys, so how good does it get here? The third row here.
Hi. How far in advance can you check in online, like particularly for like return flights?
Okay, so if you purchase an allocated seat, you can check in 30 days out. If you choose to take a freely allocated seat, it's 7 days. Okay. Sorry, it's 4 days. We changed our policy.
Oh yeah.
Did Owen plant that question?
And here we have.
If you haven't purchased an allocated seat, you can check in within 4 days of your flight. You can't. Yeah, that's a good question. How do you check in when you're abroad if you haven't purchased an allocated seat? Simplest thing to do, if you have a smartphone, download our app and you can download your boarding pass onto your phone. You never have to worry about printing out paper ever again. It's very quick, very simple. And also we have a customer registration service called My Ryanair, where you can sign up, save your details, save your passport details, save your credit card details, add your family members, and all your details will be saved. When you go to check in or purchase a flight, you'll be able to make a booking in a couple of clicks. It's very, very quick. So your best bet is to download the app and you'll have paperless boarding passes.
When you introduced that, Robin, there was a couple of airports still couldn't read the barcode for the boarding pass that Ryanair were serving.
And your memory is fantastic, and the curveballs are brilliant.
I'm sorry, I did say that I wouldn't give you many curveballs. But the thing is, it is a genuine consumer question. How many of the airports are left that you will not read it because it is something could arise?
I think it's probably 4 or 5. I think it's probably Morocco.
Yeah. Okay.
But if that's the case, then you just go to the ticket desk, show them your mobile pass, and we'll give you a free one. It's
excellent. Question here.
We've started to see some of the low-cost airlines charging for cabin baggage to be put in the overhead bins. Is that something that Ryanair is considering doing?
First of all, I have to correct you there. There are no other low-cost airlines except Ryanair, and absolutely no, it's not. Yeah. At the moment, you can bring a 10-kilogram cabin bag on board and a smaller free bag. As Owen was saying earlier, we're looking at that policy now because some people are trying to bring half the contents of their home, to quote my chief executive. But no, we aren't looking at charging for cabin bags. You can bring 2 free bags on board.
Keep an eye on that when you're in America. An airline like Spirit will actually charge you for your carry-on as well. It's quite a big shock when you come across it.
As a traveller, many years ago, I swore, because of Michael O'Leary's brashness and arrogance, that I'd never travel by Ryanair, until one time I had to go to Almeria, and you're the only one flying into Almeria. And I'd have to say, and I say this straight out, that your staff are absolutely excellent. As a carrier, you're one of the best I've ever come across, including the national one that we had before. And I don't think we get the opportunity to say thanks enough to the people who run the planes day in, day out. I've always had a pleasurable experience flying with Ryanair, and I hope you keep up the good work. So well done.
Thank you very much.
So say all of us.
10 key rings, Bobby, 10 key rings. I give him his check as well.
Yeah, you came here expecting flack and you get this, so well done.
Sorry. I saw in the paper recently that possibly as a consequence of the Brexit vote that Ryanair might be considering dropping internal UK flights, say for example from Glasgow or Edinburgh to London. Is that likely to happen?
It all depends on what happens with Brexit. So you may be familiar, we were large supporters of the Remain campaign. We were obviously shocked like everybody else that the Leave vote went through. We're waiting to see what the UK government actually does. I don't think they know what's going to happen. We certainly don't. What we've said was, as I was touching on earlier about EU Open Skies, at the moment Britain's a member of the EU Open Skies programme, so airlines are free to travel within the EU to and from Britain. If they change that policy, we operate those 3 UK domestic routes. We may have to apply for what's called an airline operating certificate, so that will mean you will have to get the certificate to fly within the UK. If that happens, we may cut the routes, we may not. To be honest, it's probably another 2 years away. So, you know, we're going to just continue getting on with offering low fares until then. We don't really know what's going to happen. It is one of many possibilities, but for now, I think we do Glasgow and Edinburgh to Stansted 4 times daily for $9.99. So get them while they're still there.
And third row.
How you doing? I'm wondering, do you fly to the Channel Islands?
The Channel Islands? No, we don't. We don't. It's actually too small a market for us, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.
How many passengers do you need to make a route viable? Would it be 50,000 a year, or would it be?
It depends on the market. I'm trying to think even where our smallest operations. There are some countries where we only have one airport that we fly to. Like, for example, Tel Aviv, Paphos would be a very small one. It all depends on, sort of three
where
things.
The aircraft is.
Yeah, this aircraft availability, a viable airport deal. So if we get a good deal, we can lower our costs. And the third one is demand. If there's no demand for a route, we won't operate it. So some of those airports that people ask us to fly to as well are too small for our aircraft. We need a certain length of runway to land. So I know I often get requests for, why aren't you flying to Waterford again? But the air runway is actually too short for us there too. Right. Plus the motorways are too good in Dublin to get up and back from. So.
And Scandinavia, you've Oslo gone now. There's a lot of what used to be Scandinavian routes are no longer available.
Yeah.
Is that just backing off Norwegian, or is it?
Nice try, Owen. No, what happened in Norway was the Norwegian government, in their wisdom, decided to bring in an environmental tax and charge €8 for every passenger who's taking off in Norway. So as a result of that, we closed our base in Oslo Ruga. We moved a couple of routes actually to Oslo Gardermoen, which is the main Oslo airport, which actually is in Oslo, believe it or not.
And so all the train network, it's really good.
Yeah. So at the moment, I think Oslo Dublin is gone for next year.
Third last row.
Yeah, we flew with you to Sardinia last year, to Alghero. And we were looking to rebook this year, but find Ryanair not flying to Sardinia anymore.
That would be, the Sardinian end of it is not finalised yet. So again, I've just talked about taxes. In Italy, the Italian government decided to bring in a tax again on all passengers. And when they bring in these taxes, it makes these countries more expensive for the airlines to fly to. So if you imagine us, we have 33 countries we fly to. We're looking to put these aircraft into the lowest market, lowest cost for us. So people adding, it was a $250 charge per person. We fly 33 million people to Italy. Automatically, our fares are going to have to go up. So we spoke to the government. We said we were going to cut routes. Thankfully, they've gotten rid of that. But we're still talking to the airports down in Sardinia and Alghero. So I'd say in the next couple of weeks, you'll see more routes being finalised. If we do have that route back on again, we'll certainly announce it. So the best bet is to stick on the Ryanair.com website.
Great. Another question here. No, we're clear.
Just a quick question. So you mentioned your safety record is exemplary. How fast do you get a plane to turn around on the runway? So what's your turnover time?
Turnaround time is 25 minutes. So when the aircraft lands and the doors open, 25 minutes later, all of the incoming passengers are off, all of their baggage is offloaded, all of the outgoing passengers are board. All of the bags are loaded, the aircraft is refueled, and we take off again. And that's one of the secrets of our success. Because we can turn around flights in 25 minutes, it means we can fly for longer during the day. So we have a shorter turnaround time. For example, we do Dublin to London Stansted Airport 8 times a day, so 4 return flights. It means we can fly more flights and offer lower fares.
The new aircraft that are arriving, are any of them going to come to Ireland, to be based out of Ireland, or is Germany going to be the focus of all of that growth in them?
Not just Germany, no. If anything, it's Italy next year, Owen. So we're putting 10 new aircraft into Italy next year. Germany, we've added a lot of new aircraft already. Germany's a big growth market for us now. We've added a lot of new bases there: Berlin, Cologne, Hamburg, Nuremberg. But it's really anywhere we see demand and we can get the lowest fares, lowest costs to pass on low fares. There's nothing saying that our friends in Dublin Airport won't see sense and offer growth incentives again. But as I say, we're not disappearing. We're still going to carry 12 million people through Dublin next year, which is actually more than a certain British-owned former Irish airline will carry an entire year as well, across the entire world, Owen. But
never miss an opportunity, Robin. The back row here, yeah, that's good.
How's it going? Just curious, have Ryanair looked into doing transatlantic flights yet?
We have. Anything like that is 4 to 5 years away. couple of issues. First of all, there's so much capacity still left in Europe. A lot of the bigger traditional legacy carriers have cut back on short-haul air flights because they can't compete with ourselves and EasyJet. So there's a lot of capacity there for us to concentrate on. Second of all, it comes down to aircraft. So all of the Gulf carriers, the likes of Etihad and Emirates, have changed the game. They've gone in and they've bought all the long-haul aircraft that's available. If you were to do low-cost transatlantics from Europe to the USA, you'd want to do it on a massive scale. So you'd want to buy 40 or 50 large long-haul aircraft and do it from 12 or 15 cities across both continents. Otherwise, there'll be no point in doing it, because if you don't go in at scale, everybody will undercut you. So at the moment, we're concentrating on Europe. Anything like that is 4 to 5 years away, and we're going to probably finish conquering Europe first before we conquer the rest of the world.
Second row here.
The aviation regulator mentioned increases to passenger charges. What does that mean for Ryanair in terms of its future at Dublin Airport?
Well, everything we do is cost and price sensitive. Last week, actually, he recommended lowering the, not introducing new airport charges for the new runway until it's actually operational. But for us, I mean, our biggest driver is to get the cost of air travel down for everybody. So if an airport becomes more expensive, instead of just bumping up the fares, we'll move our capacity elsewhere, because there's demand from so many other countries for Ryanair flights. So it's in our interest to get the best deal we can, and we'll pass on those lower fares to customers. For example, Ireland did a brilliant thing 3 years ago. We got rid of the travel tax. So for 4 years, between 2010 and 2014, every person who flew out of an Irish airport was charged €3. Britain still has that charge now. In the UK, it's £13. Similarly, Germany has a charge of $7.50 for every passenger that goes through a German airport. They have to pay $7.50. We have to charge that tax. If we're doing a $9.99 fare and there's a $7.50 tax already on that, you know, we're not exactly making a massive profit. Or if we're in the UK and we're doing $9.99 fares to and from the UK, we're actually paying the tax and then some. So it's very much in our interest to have the lowest airport deals. We negotiate with everybody. We get growth incentives, and those same incentives are then open to all airlines. But the difference is people can't grow at the rate we have, because we have the most aircraft. We also have the biggest route network, so we can connect any airport to any number, 150 across Europe, because of the model that we have. So look, lower charges at airports means lower costs for us and means lower fares for passengers. So you may find us prattling on about, oh, it's too expensive here, here, and here. We're doing it for a reason. We're trying to get the best deal for ourselves and then the best deal for our customers.
We're into our last couple of questions, so if you have a question, put your hand up, because we're coming to a close here. This lady here.
Sorry, just me again. Say if you're flying, if there's somewhere you can't get to from Ireland with Ryanair, and you're going via the UK, but the two flights are with Ryanair, is there any guarantee you can get as the consumer that if the flight is delayed and you're going to miss your connecting flight, you know the way with Ryanair you're booking two separate tickets, so...
At the moment, no, because we do purely point-to-point. It is something we're looking at. We're looking at trialing our own effective transfers or interline. The fact that we have so many flights between many of these business city airports, so for example, we have 18 flights a day between Dublin and the 3 London airports. It could be something that we do. It is something we're looking at the moment, though. My advice to you would be, if you want to fly Dublin, Stansted and Stansted, somewhere that we don't fly from Dublin, then just leave yourself about 2 hours in between. The good thing about Ryanair is 90% of our flights are on time. So you have a 9 in 10 chance of arriving there on time. And with those high frequency pairings between cities, you can always get the next flight if necessary. Something we are looking at, I know you were about to ask me there, Owen, was transfers with Aer Lingus and Norwegian. So at the moment we're in the final stages of working on a transfer agreement with these 2 airlines. So hopefully within the next year you'll be able to book a Ryanair flight from Dublin to Barcelona and a Norwegian flight from Barcelona to New York. So we're looking at those transfer arrangements. Everything will be done on one website, so if you come onto Ryanair, you'll be able to book your entire flight all the way through. If you come onto Norwegian, you'll be able to book all the way through. Baggage transfers will all be looked after, and it'll be just another extension of the service we're doing now. So we're in final negotiations with Norwegian and Aer Lingus about doing it. Dublin's a great example for something how that could work. The fact that Dublin has pre-clearance for US immigration is very attractive for other European nationals to come here and go through Dublin Airport. So we connect Dublin with 97 different airports. So why shouldn't you be able to fly with Ryanair into Dublin from another European city and on with Aer Lingus on to the US? So it will be very exciting. A few more months, I say, before that happens. And we are also looking at doing our own sort of interline transfers as well. So
I'm calling in the last question now. I'm sure there's questions that may be left unanswered. What is the one thing, you've talked about the second bag, the bag being too big. What's the one thing that customers are not doing that you want them to change? What is the message Ryanair would like to send out to customers? What's the most common mistake that customers make when they're booking Ryanair?
Book early and book often, known as the biggest mistake I find. Right. No, I mean, the bag issue is the only real issue we have at the moment. So just to be aware of the limitations of sizes. We're very much about listening to our customers. I don't think any industry worldwide has changed as quickly or as dramatically as Ryanair has in the last 3 years. But our program is called Always Getting Better for a reason. We're always looking to improve how we do things. So if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to get in contact with us through Twitter or Facebook, or send us an email, and we'll always look at any sort of improvements. If anything, it's up to us to make it better, Owen, rather than our customers.
I've really enjoyed, I hope you've enjoyed the discussion as much as I have. A really big thanks to Robin and his amazing assistant, because they gave up their Sunday to come out here and share that knowledge and wisdom, and it's been a lot of it. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Robin.
Owen.
Really appreciate what you've done.
I still have a pair of return tickets from Dublin to London, Newcastle, Barcelona, or Bucharest to give away. If anyone can give me a suggestion for improving Ryanair in the next 30 seconds, they win. The best suggestion wins.
Okay, best suggestion for improving.
More time off for the PR department. Young man. Sit down.
The question I want to ask, closer.
Go for it. There's no charge.
What about the charge on their baggage? Charge on baggages,
yeah.
Baggage weight. Because I think I was overcharged flying to Malta. Can you sort that out?
Absolutely. We did drop our fees earlier this year. For 92% of our passengers, they will have a cheaper baggage rate. So
it's frustrating to go through the departure point, Ryanair, and then go down a series of steps, and then to be held on the stairs for ages. Far better if we were sitting in the lounge until really there was free to go onto the plane.
We've said that to any of the airports that operate that policy, that we don't want anyone being brought down the stairs until the aircraft has landed and the door is open. So we take that on board. Thank you.
Michael O'Leary for Taoiseach.
No, you're not getting the tickets.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Are the only people who can't sit down, and the flight was delayed by an hour and a half.
It's on the left-hand side, yeah.
Yeah, there's no seating area when you do priority boarding in Berlin. Could you change it? Because we were standing an hour and a half the last time.
Apologies for the delay.
Why is Shannon Airport the poor relation to Dublin?
It's not really the poor relation, but it's got a smaller operation, all right, but Dublin's the capital city, it's got the infrastructure, it's got... Yeah, but it all comes down to us getting the best deal. So when we have the lowest cost at an airport, we can put routes into it. We still have a lot of routes from Shannon for next summer and winter, so it's very much not the poor relation.
Entertainment system on the back of the seats in Ryanair.
If you're willing to pay for 189 seats by 360 planes, you can have the tickets.
Advertising will pay for that.
It is something we're looking at, but again, when you have a fleet that big, the cost of installing something like that is huge.
Free cookies on board.
That would be an extra cost. If you want to pay for the cookies, then fine, we'll charge you for them.
I'd like to see him go ahead with the enforcement of the overweight bags. I think it would speed up things a lot better.
Of the overweight bags?
Yeah, the extra bag people bring on.
He's calling for more enforcement.
Yeah, I think we should do that because it will speed it up, especially getting into the seats.
Great.
Thank you.
Wi-Fi on flights.
If you want to pay for that again, then you're going to have the tickets. It is something we're looking at, but it's very expensive to do, especially when you take into account you have to put a satellite on top of the plane, and it adds to the fuel bill as well. So if we had a cheap way of doing it, we would do it. Are you still giving out these? You don't want to get fired on a Sunday. Find a new job by tomorrow.
What
Give
about
out those ones. Go on, give out one over there, please.
What about to lower costs even more? If you could get new cities that you aren't in already to contribute to getting customers to their new city, then you would lower the cost even more and they would pay for it. They want new tourists in, so they would help work with you.
So
to
get
lower
cities
the
to pay Ryanair to fly there.
Yeah, or tourism boards. Or
Yeah, you're getting the tickets. Congratulations.
Robin Keeley, thank you very, very much. And thank you for
Thanks
your great
very much,
audience.
guys.
That's brilliant.
Cheers, Owen. Thank you.
Brilliant,
Cheers.
Robin. Thanks very much. That's great. Thank you, little Robin. Thanks.